we decided May in 2015 I was going to leave my job.
But
we were at each other's
struggled.
neck. There was a lot of learning lessons to be had.
And we almost divorced.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brittany and this is my husband Anthony.
How's it going?
That's literally a rhetorical question.
How's it going? What are you doing right now? How's your day going?
We are here to answer some very frequently asked questions. And we're inspired to do this video because it's a question that we get asked so often. How did I get into fashion? How did I start this career?
And really there is no like blueprint or college you have to go to or degree you need to have to be able to become an influencer.
Which it's the title of this video because it's a very well-known term. It's more of an industry term, but it's not something that I particularly love, or I don't describe myself as an influencer when people ask. I would say I'm content creation and digital marketing. It's allowed us to be our own bosses and make our own schedules, as well as it provides a good life for us. Anthony and I work together full time. We have a team. We're able to be available for our daughter when she needs us during the day.
And just because we work for ourselves doesn't mean we work less than a 60-hour week.
And we're gonna go into how we started. First off, what college did you go to?
I went to Cal Poly Pomona and majored in food marketing and agribusiness management. I was planning to be a vet, but that didn't work out. So now I was marketing food. Graduated at the end of 2010.
I went to University of Laverne. I graduated with political science and an emphasis in international relations in 2010. And same like Anthony, this wasn't a field that I thought about. I was planning on being an attorney. I've talked about that in previous videos. I'll link it here, my pregnancy story.
So notice right off the bat, none of that has fashion, photography, web design, like nothing in any of our majors would we have come across that.
But I was always into fashion. I loved to shop, create outfits. I would help style my sisters and my family members. It was always just a very big hobby for me, but nothing that I would think that I could monetize. And I also thought that working for myself was a huge risk. I graduated during not the depression. What's it called? Recession. For me, having a stable job was number one priority, and I felt that entrepreneurial mindset was too risky and not something that interested me. So having a safe, secure job, 401k was always my plan.
And actually, I was running a food truck with my friends when
So
I met you.
opposite.
So I had that entrepreneurial spirit, but when I met her, I felt like I needed a grown-up job. I needed a secure job because if we were gonna get married, have a family, we needed to have that security.
And so what were you doing?
So I was doing PR for a racetrack. And so that kind of got me into taking photos. They had me handle their social media. So I was doing Facebook and Twitter for them. It gave me a glimpse to this whole social world. And being able to run that, I found like new passions.
So I was working at an insurance marketing firm. I decided to hold off on law school because I didn't know if I wanted to be gone from Jaden 24/7 again. I love the idea of working a stable career and being off at 5 to be home with her and not have to also go to school. So that really enticed me. I wanted to do that for a year and then see how I felt. I met you shortly after, and I feel like my plans just changed because
Sound amazing.
I feel like law school wasn't the focus for me anymore. I got a job at an insurance marketing firm, and I was doing their marketing, meeting with clients, helping to make the plan for more advertising. I feel like what had happened is we were both working good jobs, but we weren't passionate about the jobs we were in. It was more a good paycheck, and we were learning good skills. I couldn't picture being there until retirement. It was
20, 30 years. That freaks you out.
I like the idea of just the stability of it all. In 2012, we got engaged and we started planning our wedding. It was going to be a very DIY wedding. We were planning it ourselves.
We were on a budget.
We were on a very strict budget. Wanted to do as much as we could by ourselves, but also be able to make it as personal as we could for our guests. So I discovered different wedding blogs and I would read them every day to get ideas for the venue, anything from the guest gifts to just the little personal touches that people have done at their weddings that really made it stand out. I loved reading them. It was my first experience with blogs. I didn't even know they existed. And I kind of got hooked during that year of the planning. It was something I really looked forward to doing.
So while she was reading blogs and trying to figure out, the wedding I had picked up an extra side gig doing SEO for a small business. And that kind of introduced me into this whole other world, this like online world, and the different things you can do to, obviously rank your business and, get more customers in. So that was my first I'm actually starting my own thing and bringing in this additional income that is based on how much I want to work, because I can go out and grab more clients. I wasn't stuck to my salary job.
So that was an inspiring time for us. We were in very work mode. We focused on the wedding. Anthony was doing that. In the meantime, we were making crafts. It was a very busy year for us. And we would do that after work. We get married in September 2013. We got back from our honeymoon, and it set in that the wedding vlogs were no longer relevant. I didn't need to be reading them every day. It almost felt like that hobby that I had was taken away from me. And it was almost just a little depressing to read them, because at that point it didn't matter. It was nice to have extra time with Jaden, but it did feel like I needed to be doing something else too. I felt like I had all this free time now that I should have been filling with extra work. Anthony was doing the SEO still. I thought maybe I could bring in more income somehow. That would be amazing, because we were in this little tiny place, our first place together.
It's 490 square feet.
It was a 1-bedroom. Jaden got the bedroom. Anthony and I slept on a pull-out couch because we were trying to save money.
Then our desk was right at the end.
We were on
and
top
our
of each
TV is
other.
right. So it was all in this little tiny space. So by doing my side gig, I felt if I was to actually bring in more clients, then we would have the freedom to, kind of work on our own and really grow this. And with you having the extra time, we kind of put our heads together to figure out what could we actually do to work for ourselves.
We went to Anthony's parents' house during Christmas of that year, and we had a little downtime there to really just think about what we were passionate about, what we wanted. It went back to the fact that I loved reading the blogs, and I wanted to be able to do that somehow, but make it relevant to our lifestyle. And we had just gotten a camera for our wedding, so that was something fun. We thought we could take photos of what we're doing as a family. I could take photos of my outfits, and we can post them on a very simple blog and have that same experience for our readers that we looked forward to, or at least I looked forward to every day to read. So we started brainstorming some ideas of what the name would be, what it would focus on. And we got really excited about it because it seemed like a hobby that I could really love. And Anthony knew that we can make most likely some affiliate links on the website, but it was going to be pennies of affiliates. We weren't thinking what it could be today at all.
So by doing the SEO, I knew how to, hire someone for a logo. I knew how to build websites, and I was okay, we need to come up with a name. And for some reason, alliteration was
we really
all
were
we were
set on the alliteration.
Yeah.
The name was Thrifts and Threads. And that was because I was consistently going to thrift stores at the time. I was on a very strict clothing budget. The way that I was able to spend more on clothes was by thrifting and buying these nice pieces that were really underpriced because they were at a thrift store. We did thrifts and threads because I still wanted to be able to include pieces that weren't from the thrift stores and more of my higher end pieces that I would save longer for. What we decided before we launched the blog is that we wanted to have a few posts ready to go. We wanted to be able to be consistent. So we planned to shoot on the weekends, few outfit photos, and I was gonna post my photos on the blog and tell why I like that outfit. So I feel like our weekends started getting really busy doing that. I also launched an Instagram around that time where I wanted to promote all my posts back to my blog and get readership that way.
We do want to preface, because so many people are waiting for that perfect time to start. I love fashion, I love showing my outfits, I just don't know where to begin. And I mean, if you look back at some of our really beginning photos,
we'll post a few here.
the real really basic ones,
really bad.
It's horrible. I didn't know how to work a camera. I mean, I
was so impressed though. Every photo I was like, wow, that was such a good shot.
But we had no clue. We just went to the park, or we went to the alley, or we saw a cool wall. But we just started doing it, and as we did it, we got better and better. And I think a lot of people stress out because they're I need to, right when I buy a new camera, I need to take these type of photos. And it's not necessarily true. You just kind of learn along the way. And that's what we did.
For my Instagram posts, it was chronological order at that time. So I would post 3 times a day, morning, noon, at night, to make sure that I didn't miss my audience at all. And in the morning, I would post my blog post. In the afternoon, I would post my outfit of the day. And then I would also post another blog promotion post. So really, I was taking an outfit. I would take it that day, but I would change on my lunch break. Anthony would meet me for lunch. I would change out of my slacks really quick and put on jeans and be behind the Starbucks there and take a photo by the wall with my Valencia Instagram filter.
Mm-hmm. So once our friends and family found out, I think, there were some that were oh, that's great. I mean, having a blog or an Instagram and like doing it as a hobby was kind of, I mean, still new. It's not how glorious it is today or glorified, or like people don't grow up to want to become bloggers or influencers. So we did have kind of some mixed reactions because, you know, some friends and family, they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know,
or they didn't know too much. So they're like, oh cool, whatever.
Yeah. And then, you know, others, it was just like, why are you wasting your time doing this?
But also we were saying no to a lot of our friends to hang out because we were working so much on the weekends that for us to get a babysitter and go out to dinner, it didn't really make sense for us. And we were so focused on making sure that we didn't slip up on the blog posts that I think people thought that we were sacrificing our friend time or going out because...
Or even sacrificing time with Jaden. Like, we were doing this stuff instead of doing stuff with Jaden, which wasn't really the case because we always incorporated her in, you know, family trips, or we always did something fun with her. It wasn't like...
And we'd always shoot the photos when she was with us. She would just be on her scooter next to me when we were shooting. And then a lot of the time we were editing, if it was on the weekends after she went to bed. So that was why we didn't really want to go to dinner with our friends. We needed all the nights as much as possible to be able to work and edit.
Yeah.
6 months after I started my Instagram account, I reached 10,000 followers, and it was really exciting because I was getting more and more brands reaching out to me to send me free clothes to post a photo for them. And that was really exciting for me at the time because I had a very strict, like I said, clothing budget. And so that helped me not have to dip into my clothing budget as much, and it helped stretch my outfits a lot further. So that was a really big incentive for me to keep going. I think after that, I got really focused. I was like, this is so fun. Someone's sending me a jacket. They're sending me these leather shoes. I was just blown away by the idea. To grow my Instagram following at the time, I would use consistent hashtags. I would always submit to other brands that would repost photos. I would get features on Forever 21, H&M, ASOS.
OOTD.
Oh yeah, there was a different blog accounts that would repost outfits. Lookbook, we would submit our outfits after every blog post to all these different platforms and hope I would get an Instagram feature or just even a blog post feature. So I went to an event one night and I met a girl there who was telling me that I probably should be charging for my posts, that I shouldn't just be doing these posts for free clothes. And it didn't even occur to me that other people were getting paid. I came home and told him I probably need to be a little bit more strategic with this because if these brands are posting me on their website and they're putting me on the email blast, maybe I should be getting paid for this. I didn't think about it.
And also, too, it made us look into, okay, do we need to have a contract? Because before it was just people send us clothes, we'd take a photo. But then there'd be other times where someone would ask, oh, you didn't do this or didn't do that. And so it was like, wait, we didn't agree on that.
So we found a template online for a contract that we would use that would protect us. I basically made up my rates. I made a rate for a blog post. I made a rate for blog post plus email, and an Instagram post, Instagram with tag, Instagram without a tag. I was pretty specific with all the different options.
So there's no confusion at all to what they're going to receive in exchange for, you know.
So I made my rate card, and when people would ask to get free clothes, I would say, well, what would you want from this? What were you looking for? Here's my rate card. Let me know if we could work together. And it was a great way for me to open the doors with these brands. I did a lot of outreach with this rate card too. So funny thinking about it now.
Here's my rate card.
Yeah, it's just so funny. And it was getting very overwhelming with the admin side of things, having to try to you were helping me review contracts. We were getting pretty good inquiries, and I was realizing I was taking on a little bit too much that I could handle. As far as we only were able to shoot these jobs after work, and most of the time the sun was almost about to drop. We were getting a little spread thin to where we were not sleeping that much. I realized my rates were probably too low because people were accepting way too often without any pushback. So I started at my rate and realized I probably can get a little bit more. It took me a year after we started the blog to actually get our first check. During that time, I would get invited to showroom visits and events, and I wasn't able to go to any of them. I would try to say, oh, I get off at 5, maybe I can get down there by 6. I was working in Pasadena at the time, but to head to downtown LA or West Hollywood, I wouldn't get there until later in the evening. So that was tough because I did feel like a little bit that I was missing out.
You kind of really needed that face-to-face time too, because it's just that you need to give the brand the ability to know your personality just behind the photos and how you work and how professional you are. And it just gets your name out there.
During this time, I submitted for a contest that Blog11 was having at the time, and I submitted myself for Breakthrough Blogger of the Year. They were picking 3 finalists, and the finalists were able to be flown to New York Fashion Week, and they were going to be put in a hotel for the awards. So I thought that was a really big incentive just to be able to go to Fashion Week. It was always something very far off for me and something I didn't think that I would be able to ever go to, especially with my full-time job and not having as much vacation time. So around February 2015, Anthony and I sat down together and talked about our sleep schedule, our work schedule, how it just wasn't really maintainable for this much longer, and that something was gonna have to give. So whether I really tried to do this full time and put a huge effort into this, I could network more, I'd be able to shoot more of my outfits during the day if I did a tripod or if he met up with me, or do I just take a step back with this and really focus on my full-time job to where we can still have a regular sleep schedule? And
even then we were kind of stressing, because even if you were made a finalist on this competition, then you would have had to take vacation time out. And you know, both of us only had a certain number of vacation days, so that would take away from kind of our family time. So it's like one of those tipping points.
We weren't just going to jump into it blindly. We wanted to track my income for the next 3 months and see if it was making up my full-time job plus my benefits. So I wanted to make sure that I had made money plus that. So we laid all those numbers out and said, this is how much I need to make each day. This is how many jobs I need to book for the month to make sure that we can make up that income. And we'll see how we do for the next 3 months. And if things seem to start slowing down, then there's our sign. It only got busier, and the next 3 months was consistently month after month, I was making more than my corporate job. We saw there was more opportunities there was some weekend trips that people were asking me to go on, but I needed to bring a photographer and it was gonna be paid. There was different things that were coming up that I knew I would have to say no to if I still worked in my full-time job. So we decided May in 2015, I was gonna leave my job, and we felt like we were pretty safe about it though. We felt that we were making a good decision. I left on really good terms for my job. Also, no one knew there that I had a blog at the time. They were very much like, why are you leaving? And I remember I just had hit 50,000 followers on Instagram. They were asking about it. They were excited for me. They just said, if anything doesn't work out, you can always come back. After that was the weirdest feeling for me to walk away and think that I wasn't coming back. Usually you check out of the office after 5 and you're always coming back, or if you're on your vacation, you're going back. But it was such a weird feeling that I was not going back to the office, and it was really exciting because,
well, when you wake up on a Monday morning, you're like,
wait, am I doing everything I'm supposed to be doing? So this was a huge turning point for me with the motivation. I felt like I got really fired up about it, and I just wanted to not fail. I wanted to be able to make more money. I wanted to make sure that we were succeeding with it. Jaden also put it together that the blog meant that she didn't have to go to daycare because I quit May 2015. That was right when she got out of school for the summer. So she also felt like she was on vacation in a way, because she's like, you don't have to go back to work anymore. And it was a little bit like the blog meant me staying at home, which was really sweet. And that was really motivating for me. During this time, Anthony was still working, so I would still be at home. I would do all the admin during the day and make sure that when he got home, I had the list of what we needed to shoot or what he needed to help me on with the blog. I was trying to figure out a little bit more of the coding myself, that I could fix things. I would call you at work a lot. It was nice to be able to put 100% of my focus into the blog every day and wake up, and that was what I had on my plate. But I did feel like I was still a little held back because, like I said, some things needed a photographer. He was also traveling quite a bit too.
So you're kind of left with, no one to take a photo, no one to edit or do certain things. So it was still kind of taxing on us, because still half of kind of the shooting creative side, I was still working.
So we sat down and thought, do we need to hire a photographer for the day when you're working, or especially when you're traveling? That way it doesn't fall on you all the time. Or do we really bust this out and see if you can quit as well? I also got the news that I was gonna be a finalist at the Breakthrough Blog Love and
Blog Lovin's Breakthrough Blogger of the Year.
So I was gonna be a finalist, and I was gonna be going to Fashion Week that September. That was really exciting, but I was also,
who's gonna watch Jaden?
Who's gonna watch Jaden? Who's gonna help me with my photos? It was this whole other pressure that I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to do. But him working still was hard, I would say. So I brought my friend Jenna with me, who we both were clueless to how Fashion Week worked. We had no idea how stressful it was going to be. it was this whole other experience that it really inspired me to want to continue after. I think I was just a little overwhelmed when I was there. I was with her.
Because I wasn't there with you.
And no, Jenna did a good job keeping me sane. But also, I won the awards. The finalists were picked by the Blog Lovin' team. The winner was voted for via Instagram or via your blog. You could put the little vote link and you had to say it to your followers to vote for me. When I heard my name that I won, it re-inspired me again. Like, people are reading my blog every day. There's an audience that's there that I'm touching. It kind of brought it back down to the personal part of it, where there's really people behind this that are voting for you every day. It's not just these numbers of Instagram or my blog numbers that we look at all the time. Shortly after, I signed with my first management agency. That helped me take off some of that admin and the back and forth of the contracts. I was trusting them to be able to help me in those areas that I had no expertise about. I was learning a lot just by doing it myself and researching online, but I still feel like I lacked that legal knowledge of what are my rights in this industry. I don't know fully what other girls are saying or what other people are doing. There was no benchmark for me, so being with a management agency was really helpful.
Once we had the management company handle more of the back end stuff, they started bringing in more campaigns, and from there, we really started to evaluate, okay, if we can expect X amount of campaigns each month, it's becoming more and more of a reality that I could actually quit and that we can take care of the business side. We can get, more photos done, like really put our whole heart into this.
There's so many changes that we wanted to make to the blog that I wanted to have a shop page. We wanted to do a course. Like, there was all these different ideas that we had that we didn't have the time to do. We tracked our income for the next 3 months, and we needed to make a lot more at this point to make sure that he was fine to leave, because when I left, it was fine. There was a safety net though. We could still pay all of our bills on your income.
Plus I had that side hustle, and we were doing other little things to bring in money.
So we were fine in that sense, but with him leaving, we wanted to make sure that we weren't just going blindly into this.
Because now we're actually taking care of our health insurance. We're the ones that have to put into our 401k. Everything falls on us now.
What happened next?
It was June of 2016. That's when I decided to stay home. That was weird. When we first started getting into this and looking to be our own bosses, we really didn't want anyone to tell us when you could take a vacation, or we didn't want to be constrained to just a certain salary. So like when that was lifted, like all that, and all of a sudden now we are our own bosses and we get to decide, hey, I don't want to work today, or hey, let's work
all
2
through the
weeks
weekend. Yeah. That type of lifestyle seems so far-fetched for us, because we both were very stable. So we had to adjust to that lifestyle as well. But we started traveling a lot during that time because we could, and we'd be able to take these weekend trips with Jaden. When she would go up north to visit her birth dad, then we would go on a trip. We had the flexibility and we'd shoot content there, we'd shoot our jobs. I feel like we were really excited that we could. So
we were getting better at photos and like knowing, oh, we should probably go to a very scenic place to take a photo. Or like, so we got into that mode of, okay, if we're not doing something family and Jaden's gone, let's go here and really kind of build up our content and like make it better than what it's always been.
And when she was home for the summer or when she had a break from school, we tried to make a vacation out of it, try to figure out, because now we weren't confined to requesting off our vacation hours. I love that time. That we have so many fun memories of just going to these random places that we'd never been before.
So this was a very awesome feeling to both be at home, to both be doing something that we've been working on the last 2 years and like give it our all. But
we were at each other's neck. There was a lot of learning lessons to be had for learning to work together.
Spouse, yeah.
Being together 24/7 and being able to still have a romantic relationship, be good parents to Jaden. There's a whole other struggle that we'll talk about in part 2.
And we almost divorced.
Imagine. No. You can never leave me.
So it
was a lot to handle all at once. Just being, now you guys are working together, figure it out. In part 2, we'll cover what happened
to keep our marriage strong
and past 2016 until where we're at now. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and stay tuned for next Thursday's video. We'll see you next week.
Bye.